Good morning, I'm Billy Owens. Thanks for joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Nicole Dementry. Here's a look at some of the stories we'll be talking about over the next hour.
Following a spurt of recent off-campus robberies, Syracuse University's Department of Public Safety has tips on how students can stay safe.
Some Newhouse journalism students are getting ready to visit one of the world's conflict zones. We'll tell you what they'll be doing there.
And some SU students spent winter break in a storm-ravaged Puerto Rico. We'll have a live interview about their experiences.
All that, plus your snowy weather forecast and orange sports coming up on this edition of Mornings on the Hill.
Our top story for the hour, a winter storm warning is in effect for our entire area today, and predictions say we could see up to 8 to 12 inches of snowfall.
And while, of course, this is by no means the largest amount of snow Syracuse has seen, our very own Caitlin Pearson is out on his weather deck. And Caitlin, you were looking quite frigid. How is it out there?
Yes, guys, the snow is falling very heavily, and while again, most Central New Yorkers have seen much more snow than this, it is the timing of this storm that makes it so dangerous. Now, the snow started around 8 a.m. when most people were heading to work or when school was supposed to start. That's why we saw so many school closings today. The snow will continue to fall very heavily and will be at its heaviest at 5 o'clock when people will be heading home from work. So it'll be a very scary drive out there today because the snow will be falling between 1 to 2 inches per hour, and that'll make it really dangerous. So now looking into this evening and going into the rest of this week, while the area-wide snow should be leaving by 7 p.m. this evening, a spray of new lake effect snow is expected to occur at times tonight into Thursday morning. And between that and the residual snow from wind gusts, we can expect to wake up to a fresh 2 to 5 inches of snow on Thursday morning. Now Thursday, we can expect that typical cloudy winter sky with a 60% chance of snow showers in the late morning. This will be more lake effect snow, so only between 1 to 3 inches, so nothing compared to what we will see today. Now frigid temperatures are expected Thursday night, so make sure to give yourself some extra time to warm up your car Friday morning. Another big snow day expected on Friday with an 80% chance of snow, and this is also expected to go into the evening, so no break in the snowfall for most of the latter part of this week. And this holds true for the weekend, as Saturday, while we'll see some warmer temperatures, snow showers are expected at around a 40% chance there. And the temperature will continue to go up into Sunday, which will turn the snow into a wintry mix of light freezing rain. Now this can lead to very dangerous road conditions, so I encourage our viewers to take it easy on the roads and drive really slowly. Now another thing that I want to make sure our viewers know is that with this new administration, they are really cracking down on parking regulations. So this means that at the designated time, you need to move your car to the correct side of the street. And if you do not do that, you could potentially get a ticket, or even worse, your car could be towed. Now this is so the plows can keep the roads clear, and hopefully we can keep ourselves safe this winter season. Back to you guys in the studio.
Campus safety is always a concern for students, and with a recent uptick in robberies and burglaries, we wanted to share ways you can stay safe while on or near campus at any time of the day.
Our very own Alexis Scott joins us live in studio to talk about preventative methods you could take to ensure your safety.
A recent string in robberies has the Department of Public Safety reinforcing tips to keep students feeling safe. I spoke with Officer CJ McCurdy on what we as students can do to stay aware of our surroundings.
Incidents can happen at any time. Being prepared for any situation is what's best for all college students.
I make sure I'm aware of my surroundings in order to ensure my safety.
When I'm walking home, I definitely, if I don't have anyone to talk to on the phone, I'll pretend to talk on the phone. I always keep my keys in my hand in case something were to happen.
But the Department of Public Safety says being on the phone can cause more harm than you know.
You just can't see and hear what's going on around you.
DPS offers multiple services to help guide students as they attempt to stay safe on and off campus.
So we have the RAD, the shuttle service, and the app.
DPS Services not only encourages students to come in here to Sims Hall to report any incidents they may have, but also encourages them to download the Live Safe app. Students can report tips and also go and talk to someone for emergency services as soon as possible.
Keeping your head up while you're on your phone, checking your mirrors while you're in the car, locking the door while you're in the car.
For students looking for a more personal approach, Syracuse Self-Defense offers in-home training. This teaches women what to do in case of an emergency.
You're going to get up and slide it back and get up with your hands in the ready position. You're not just tapping.
These techniques could keep you from feeling defenseless or unsafe as you make your way to and from campus.
The Syracuse Self-Defense Training says it can teach you everything you need to know in one 3-hour session. Students can also register for the Rape Aggression Defense class on the DPS website. Being aware and being prepared are the most important steps to staying safe. Reporting live, I'm Alexis Scott for Mornings on the Hill.
The national flu epidemic hasn't quite taken hold on SU campus just yet. As of January 22nd, only 33 cases of the flu have been confirmed at health services.
Now, last year at this time, there were 150 positive flu tests, and despite this year's batch of the flu vaccine only being about 30% effective, while doctors say it is the best option for protection against the flu. However, if you suspect the flu, don't head to the ER.
If you get the flu or believe you have the flu, Onondaga County and New York State Department of Health are recommending that you avoid the emergency room unless you are more severely ill.
And Lane expects health services to see an increase in flu-like illnesses come through her doors over the next several weeks, but she believes the confirmed flu cases won't necessarily spike.
Students can still get their flu shot at health services through pharmacy during regular hours without an appointment. Those with minor flu symptoms are urged to stay at home, rest, and drink lots of fluids. SU students now have the opportunity to play on the same basketball court of some of their favorite college athletes.
And how cool is that? Recreation Services and Syracuse Athletics are teaming up to allow students to have an additional location to play some pickup basketball.
The Carmelo K. Anthony Basketball Center will open its doors to students this semester from 8 to 11 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
As a whole, like we sort of like get an experience of a basketball player. You know, they practice it every day. So like having that luxury to come over to the Mello Center and just like hoop for about 3 hours is just a great opportunity.
Students are asked to bring a change of shoes in order to protect the courts from salt and their SU ID to gain access to the building.
And there will be no minutes after 10 p.m.
The university Muslim chaplain has created an opportunity for people of different beliefs, backgrounds, and interests, an opportunity to get to know each other and learn about Islam.
Our very own Jose Cuevas is live in studio with details on this educational series.
The name of the program is called the 6-Week Series, and it is aimed towards creating conversation and educating people on Islam.
I'm glad to be here.
The 6-week series on Islam kicked off in Byrd Library, and students as well as community members are excited to learn more about one of the world's largest religions.
I never get to talk much about it now or hear much about some of the theological aspects that I've wondered about.
Some are excited for academic reasons.
I'm looking forward to do dissertation and some research on disability, how it's seen in Islam and how in Muslim societies, Muslim communities.
Given the times we live in, where Islam is so frequently misunderstood, the attendees of the 6-week series say that the event is not only important, but timely.
All these misconceptions, it's very important that we have something like this and other types of interfaith programs and projects.
Jeric says bringing people together changes their perception.
32% of people who didn't know somebody who is Muslim had some positive views about the Muslim community, but 56% of those who knew somebody who is Muslim had positive views about the Muslim community.
Overall, he is very happy with the turnout.
I'm honored to actually get to know them better and at the same time to share with them some knowledge that I have, and I'm hopeful that it will be addition to their general knowledge about Islam.
The 6-week series continues tonight in room 004 in Byrd Library from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Reporting live in the studio, I'm Jose Cuevas for Mornings on the Hill. Back to you, Billy and Nikki.
Thanks, Jose. And coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, there's a new set of wheels heading down the Euclid during those late nights. We'll tell you how the service will help keep you safe.
Also coming up, a group of Syracuse students traveled to Puerto Rico to provide aid after the hurricane. We'll hear their stories next.
Stay with us for those stories and much more here on Mornings on the Hill.
Welcome back to Mornings on the Hill. Students will now have a new off-campus transportation option to use during the late hours.
And I'm sure wish we had that today on this snowy Thursday, but Thursday through Saturday from 10:30 p.m. to 3:25 a.m., the Euclid shuttle is available to students.
The shuttle makes stops throughout the University Hill neighborhood between Euclid Avenue and Westcott Street. The shuttle even will pick up students near some campus residence halls.
And it's really nice because the sidewalks on Euclid usually aren't plowed, so people trip a lot, especially in heels on the weekend nights. So it's nice to have a safe route from here to like Marshall Street by campus.
And the shuttle is part of Invest Syracuse, a $100 million fund given to and created for university academic programs and the student experience.
The new shuttle service is being billed as a clean, fast, and safe ride for students. So one of my favorite things about sports is when fans get to interact with their players.
And I absolutely love it too, and that's just what happened on Saturday when the SU women's ice hockey team took to the ice rink in Clinton Square. At the public ice rink in downtown Syracuse, fans were invited to skate with the team during the annual Skate with the Orange event. It's a chance for fans to interact with the players, take some pictures, and even get some autographs.
The sun was shining, the team was excited and happy to be there, but the 20-degree day was too much for most SU fans, except for one 11-year-old who comes out to the event every year.
And they take time with them, and he really enjoys skating with them.
And if you want to catch the SU women's ice hockey team, they'll be playing at RIT at home on Friday night.
He may not have screamed, "Hug me, brother," while on campus Thursday, but many of us remember Josh Peck from the Nickelodeon show Drake and Josh.
Now, the quote, coolest event on campus almost sold out for lining up to see the comedian 2 hours before the show even began.
Hillel Student Jewish Union worked on bringing Peck to campus since last semester. This is their first guest speaker in a few years.
We were looking at the list trying to find a great speaker to bring to the university, and he just jumped out right away. Obviously, we're looking for someone who has that Jewish connection, but he has a connection to everyone on campus. I mean, everyone grew up watching him on TV.
Peck sat down with SU senior Eric Benjamin to talk about everything from his Vine fame to his Jewish identity.
Hillel is excited to bring more speakers to campus and hopes to have another guest by the end of the semester.
On Tuesday night, Syracuse Quality Living residents protested what they called poor housing situations.
The Daily Orange reported that approximately 20 students marched, citing issues like rodents, leaky ceilings, and appliance problems.
According to the DO, SQL properties have had multiple code violations over time.
Now, a representative for SQL apologized for failing to meet students' demands. She also cited a possible disconnect between when students think maintenance will arrive and when they call to complain.
During winter break, a group of SU students took a trip to Puerto Rico to help with hurricane relief after the island was slammed with Hurricane Maria in the fall.
Amnea Abushnab is live in studio this morning with the trip's student team leader. Amnea.
Thank you, Billy and Nicole. I'm joined this morning by John Jankovic, a member of Student Association and the student team leader on the Puerto Rico relief trip. John, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, could you tell us a little bit about this trip and where your inspiration came from?
Sure. So, through my involvement with the SU Student Association, I really felt powerless. You know, you saw what happened in Houston, you saw what happened in the Caribbean, you saw what happened in Puerto Rico, and really Angie Patty, the SA Vice President, she came up to me at the beginning of the year and she was like, "Hey guys, like I want to hear your ideas, I want to help you make them possible." And so I just mentioned it in passing, and then about a month goes by and she puts me in contact with Devin Bartholomew over at Hendricks Chapel. And from there, history was made.
And how involved were you in the organization and the planning of the trip?
Sure. I was very involved. I oversaw the application process. We had 193 applicants and 18, which we then moved to 22 spots. So it was really selective and it was a lot of work, but I did a lot to, pick the best students, and I'm sure we did.
And what would you say was the most shocking thing that you saw when you arrived in Puerto Rico?
So one day we were helping this man. His name was Alex, and he was paralyzed from the waist down because of a car accident he suffered when he was younger. And during the hurricane, he almost drowned in his house because he lived in a 2-story home, and he was on the 1st floor. His brother had to swim down from the 2nd floor and save him. And one day we took the whole day and we removed all the furniture, everything in his house. We power washed it. We ran to Walmart and all donated about $5 or $10 to buy him some clothes and some food and supplies for him and his mother. And then we moved everything back in, and just to see the smile on his face and to see, all the great things. And in the meantime, we all helped out in the community too. So we would hand out food, water, talk to the people, kind of understand the culture and things like that. And it was a really powerful day.
And I can imagine a week was not enough time to do all of the things that you wanted to do. So do you have any future plans to go back by yourself or as a group?
So we're actually in the midst of starting an initiative organization on campus between Student Association and Hendricks Chapel called Orange Relief. And it's going to be an emergency disaster response team for issues like this. So right now we are in the works of a spring break trip back to Puerto Rico, and hopefully we'll have more information for that soon.
Okay, and is there anywhere for our viewers to follow along your journey and to see any updates?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Orange Relief. And then we have an Instagram @Orange Relief and Twitter with the same name.
Okay, and thanks once again to John for joining us this morning. And still to come here on Mornings on the Hill, Newhouse journalism students are heading to Israel to gain international reporting experience. We'll let you know how they're preparing for the trip. Stay with us, that story and more just ahead.
15 Newhouse students are preparing for a special overseas trip later this semester.
Christine Morton is live in our studio this morning with the story. That's right, Billy and Nicole. As the semester begins to unfold, so are the preparations for this class to go abroad to Israel. Let's take a look.
Next, what I want you to do for next week is to actually study a map of the Mideast, so you'll know where Turkey is related to Israel.
15 Newhouse students are gearing up to take a 10-day reporting trip to Israel.
So you got a lot of research to do.
Associate Dean and Professor of the class, Joel Kaplan, says the Journalism Press Club contacted Newhouse. This opportunity is something he couldn't pass up.
But there's always been a desire from the students to have an international experience.
Kaplan says the trip will require students to pre-plan.
I want them to do as much as they possibly can before they get there, because once they get there, things are going to be moving at lightning speed. And if the more knowledge and the more background and the more research they've done, the easier it will be once they're there.
But student Isha Barlinge says she is excited for the challenge.
I mean, you get to meet people who have different stories, different backgrounds, and a totally different country. And that experience will be like a lifetime opportunity.
Students will be flying into Tel Aviv, but will have the opportunity to report in other areas such as Jerusalem and the Syrian and Lebanon border.
There's so much news coming out of there right now with us trying to move the embassy, with internal political scandals and drama in Israel, with the whole Middle East still a little bit on tinder blocks.
But Barlinge says she wants to produce a story about her own gender.
I would want to know more about women's life in Israel, how the politics in Israel and Palestine thing has affected them, how their lives have changed since the time this politics has come in their life.
Kaplan says a website will be made to show the work of the students when they return home. I'm Christine Morton with Mornings on the Hill.
I'm excited to say I'll also be traveling to Israel with Isha and Dean Kaplan next month. But Dean Kaplan said there is now another international reporting class being organized to go to Costa Rica this spring break with Newhouse professor Hubert Brown. So if you missed out on the opportunity to apply to go to Israel, now you have a second chance. And you can contact Professor Brown for more info. Reporting live in studio, I'm Christine Morton with Mornings on the Hill.
Our Mornings on the Hill colleagues Sarah Bonadies and Alana Selden are joining us now. And finally, this half hour, the first ever Chick-fil-A in Central New York is set to open on the 22nd of this month on Route 11 in Cicero. That's about 20 minutes from campus.
And I'm super excited. I'm already saving up my gas money for it. And although the chain has more than 2,000 restaurants across the nation, there's only one Chick-fil-A in the state that's near New York City. And the Cicero restaurant plans to employ about 80 people and will host a drive-through for customers.
I'm so excited.
I am as well.
Me too. I've actually never had Chick-fil-A, so I'll definitely have to try it.
Well, we'll have to go, and that'll do it for us this morning. I'm Nicole Dementry.
And I'm Billy Owens. Thanks for watching, Orange Nation.
Good morning, I'm Alana Selden. Welcome back here on Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Sarah Bonadies. Here's a look at some of the stories we'll be talking about in our second half hour. As sorority recruitment wraps up for another year, we have a behind-the-scenes look at how it went in light of recent hazing allegations in the community.
Also, we'll tell you about a Syracuse University student who is in South Korea interning for the Olympic Games.
And competition among student startups. We'll talk live with an award-winning entrepreneur about her big idea.
All that plus your weather and orange sports coming up in this half hour of Mornings on the Hill.
Winter storm alerts are in effect this week in a stretch of the U.S., reaching over 2,000 miles. From Texas to Maine, cities are preparing for the season's worst yet.
Caitlin Pearson is live on our weather deck to let us know how this winter storm will be impacting us here in Syracuse, not only today, but going into the weekend. Caitlin?
Hi guys, if you were with us at the 10 o'clock, you can see more inches of snow are piling up. We have about 4 inches right now, which sticks with that pattern of about 1 to 2 inches falling per hour. Now we seem to have the perfect cocktail for a winter storm here in Syracuse, and that includes 3 elements. The first being heavy precipitation. Now this isn't only coming from the storm system that's on top of us right now, but also coming from the lakes. Now the second, temperature. It's very cold, and that's going to keep the precipitation as snow. And then the third being the speed of this storm, which is why there's so much concern. The snow is falling very heavy, very fast. We've seen cleanup crews trying to stay on top of it early this morning, but it is going to make the commute home very difficult today. So make sure to keep it really slow on the roads. Now looking into the rest of this evening and going on into the rest of this week, a ton of school closings today all around our area, and while the major storm system should be out of Syracuse by 7 p.m. tonight, a heavy dusting of new lake effect snow is expected to occur intermediately tonight into Thursday morning. So between that and the residual snow from wind gusts from today, we can expect to wake up to a fresh 2 to 5 inches of snow on Thursday morning. With all this snow, we remind our viewers of the parking regulations in the city and residential areas, so the plows can keep the streets clear and you don't get a ticket on your car, or even worse, towed. Now Thursday, we can expect cloudy skies with a 60% chance of lake effect snow in the early morning, only between 1 to 3 inches though, so nothing compared to what we are seeing today. Another big dropping of snow expected on Friday with an 80% chance of snow, and this is also expected to go into the evening, so no break in the snowfall for most of the latter part of this week. And this holds true for the weekend, so while it may not be fun staying on top of your snow cleanup, it will be really beneficial by the end of this week, as more snow is predicted for Saturday. And as the temperature will continue to go up Sunday, we can expect the snow to turn into a wintry mix of light freezing rain. This can lead to very dangerous road conditions, so I encourage our viewers to take it very easy on the roads. Now, another thing I want to point out about this storm is that unlike Sunday, where we saw really light, fluffy snow, this snow has a higher concentration of water, which makes the snow very heavy, which will make shoveling and other care on the roads much more difficult. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. That was your Mornings on the Hill weather update. I'm Caitlin Pearson. Back to you.
It's a 16-hour flight to South Africa, but one group of Syracuse students is looking to make it a little closer to home through virtual reality.
10 Newhouse delegates traveled to Grahamstown over winter break with the goal of telling stories and recreating spaces using VR.
The technology involves creating a walkable 3D photo where you can explore the world around you.
Lenny Martinez was on that trip and says that one of their projects is to recreate a soccer game.
Creating a 3D model of the stands
and putting the content within that so that you can experience the excitement and the emotion of that last match in as many different ways as possible.
Martinez says the project should be completed by the end of the semester. On Tuesday night, Syracuse Quality Living residents protested what they call poor housing situations.
The Daily Orange reported that approximately 20 students marched, citing issues like rodents, leaky ceilings, and appliance problems.
According to the DO, SQL properties have had multiple code violations over time.
A representative from SQL apologized for failing to meet students' demands. She also cited a possible disconnect between when students think maintenance will arrive and when they call to complain.
Every year, Syracuse University's Humanities Center partners with Syracuse Stage to put on an educational event tied to one of the stage's performances.
This year, the Humanities Center teamed up with rock musical Next to Normal to put on a panel discussion that included mental health educators, psychiatric practitioners, and theater artists.
Next to Normal really offered a rich opportunity to have conversation about how theater represents mental health on stage.
The panel discussed themes represented in the musical, such as mental illness, a sense of belonging, and the struggle for those seeking treatment.
The musical that surrounds a suburban mother's struggle with mental illness and the impact it has on her family will run until February 11th. For tickets and additional information, go online to syracusestage.org.
Syracuse University's Healthy Monday programs are now in session.
According to research conducted by Johns Hopkins, people view Monday as a day to begin to choose healthy choices and behaviors.
This semester's Healthy Monday initiatives include free fruit available at select fitness centers, a Move It Monday fitness class at Flanagan Gymnasium, and more. For additional information about Healthy Monday and how you can get involved, be sure to visit healthymonday.syr.edu. The 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics begin tomorrow night.
Junior broadcast journalism major Rebecca Castor is in South Korea right now, interning for the Games. Castor says her time at Citrus TV has prepared her well to work in NBC's sports desk. She is most excited to see all of the skiing events and to take on this new travel experience.
South Korea by itself, I've never been there. I heard the food is kind of weird, but I'm excited to try it. So I'm just excited to kind of see, what it's like to be like in a different country, without my parents and like really just by myself.
The Student Veterans Organization at Syracuse University brings faculty, alumni, and student veterans together.
Epiphany Catling is live in the studio to give us more details on this organization.
Thanks, Alana and Sarah. The purpose of the Student Veterans Organization is to assist veterans while they're still in school and working on their degree. I was able to speak with a few members of the SVO about how it impacts their lives. Non-traditional students face difficulties while getting their degree, especially student veterans. One Navy vet says the Student Veterans Organization played a huge role in his decision to come to CUSE.
So I'd say the biggest thing actually has been the lounge, a place that when I've got a couple hours between classes that I can go, just focus solely on my work and get experiences from other students.
The lounge has snacks, books, and a TV. It's a place for veterans to meet people with similar backgrounds.
A bunch of people I already have a bond with. We go out to do stuff like all the time. We go to sporting events. We do things like chili cook-off here, and so it really made me feel at home here at Syracuse University.
The money raised from the SVO events goes back into their organization. The money could be used for free social events, future events, and the end of the year Veterans Ball.
Veterans Ball at the end of every year, and it's a veteran style, or it's like a military style ball and awards ceremony.
Unlike the Veterans Ball, the other events change depending on their interest.
A huge, diverse crowd, and it's not typical of your traditional college student. So we try to mix it up as much as we can.
All veterans and veteran supporters are welcome to join the SVO. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Epiphany Catling.
Recruitment has just finished for sororities here on campus. Our reporter Sarah Perkis attended the kickoff event for potential new members and talked to some of the women involved.
800 campuses participate in Greek life in the U.S. and Canada. In fact, more than 30% of the students at Syracuse University join a fraternity or sorority, according to syracuse.edu. With Rush having just ended, Phi Sigma Sigma member Rachel Fricker tells us why she decided to join a sorority.
Probably because it's like really big at this school, and I wasn't at first really for it, but then meeting everyone and realizing how many different chapters there were and how diverse everything is, it's kind of like you can find a place wherever.
Despite the Greek life community remaining a huge part of SU, Panhellenic member and Rho Gamma director Ray Sanchez tells us why she thinks the organization needs to improve on a national level.
Like, there's so many issues right now with hazing, alcohol. I think if we all come together and really understand why Greek life was invented, it would improve the values of every chapter.
Although girls will be touring houses like this one to find their new home, there are concerns about the organization's status in the upcoming years.
Honestly, I see it not being as popular as it is now, just because of the way that the culture is moving. It's becoming very different. Like, not that it's a judgmental process, but like you're being based off of first judgments, and I think that as a society we're moving away from that.
That was Sarah Perks reporting for Mornings on the Hill. Bid Day took place on Super Bowl Sunday, where each sorority house finally met their new group of sisters. Boy Rush for SU fraternities is scheduled to start sometime next week. Coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, a competition is looking for students who have a bright idea.
3 points, 12 rebounds.
The Syracuse men's basketball team needed a big game on the road Monday night. Did they get it? Stay with us for those stories and much more here on Mornings on the Hill.
Welcome back to Mornings on the Hill. I'm Mai Owens. The Atlantic Coast Conference is searching for student innovators to compete for the Inventure Prize. It's a Shark Tank style competition for student startups. But today we are joined this morning by Kate Beckman, the founder and CEO of FreshU. Hi Kate, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit about what FreshU is?
Yeah, so FreshU is a national online publication for college students, specifically focusing on college freshmen. So we have writers all across the country, mainly freshmen, a few sophomores, that write about the transition from high school to college life. So that's things like academics, living with a roommate. In addition to that, we also work with companies to provide access to Generation Z, which is what our audience is made up of.
Okay, so what made you come up with this idea?
So when I was a freshman here at Syracuse University, I thought of this idea for a publication completely run by freshmen that would give them a chance to write about all of the newness and the uncertainty about transitioning to college. After my freshman year, after I launched a publication here on Syracuse, I decided to launch a national publication and take the idea to other universities. So I launched that at the end of my sophomore year, and we spread to over 150 campuses.
Wow. So last year when you were part of the competition, you made it to the Final 5. How did that feel?
It was really exciting, especially because a lot of the companies that were in the ACC competition were very science, tech, and hardware based. And so to be a media company and make it into the Final 5 was really exciting.
Wow. So I know the application deadline is coming up. So for those who are interested in participating in the competition, what do you think the judges are looking for?
I think they definitely are looking for an idea that is more in the science space, something that's a little more mechanical hardware. I think a reason that I did so well in the competition was because my company did have a lot of traction. We had 100,000 monthly unique visitors. We have 300 writers across the country, whereas the other companies were in their early stages, but they were much more, medical devices, robotics, agriculture based. So I think if you have an idea that's more science technical based, it'd be really good to try out this competition as long as you have your idea very soundly thought out and you do have a little bit of traction.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about the science ideas and everything like that. Where does the funding come from?
Well, for the science ideas for their projects or for...
Oh, well, for yours.
Oh, so for my project, so we've been able to generate revenue through advertising. You know, we've won a few business competitions in the past, received money from Syracuse business competitions, and also working with companies for our Gen Z consulting, we've gotten money from there. So we're able to fund it that way now. But initially it was a lot of like family and friends, you know, putting a little money in to help pay for our like server costs and, you know, the costs that go with running a publication.
Okay, so now since you went last year, you're kind of our inside track. What was the coolest startup you saw last year?
There were so many that were just so, I was like, how did you guys come up with this? How do you know this much? There was one invention that it was a powder that you could put in an open wound and it somehow made it stop bleeding. So that was really, really interesting to me. And I was like, you guys are in college and you thought of this idea. So that was really cool. And there was another one that was, I think, like a bandage that, there are a few ones that had to do with wounds in medical care that were really cool. So yeah, so it's a tough competition.
Yeah, it sounds so interesting. Well, you know, maybe I should start coming up with startups, but the deadline is February 9th. And if interested, the application can be found online. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
I'm Maya Owens. Sarah, back to you at the news desk.
Speaking of startups, an SU research duo has been named one of 6 finalists in the Genius New York 2018 competition.
College of Engineering and Computer Science professor Utpal Roy and PhD student Yunpeng Lee have advanced thanks to their drone project.
Their team's project turned into their joint business, USPLM, which will provide customizable software that will help drone manufacturers.
Our ultimate goal is we want to sustain this business. We want to grow this business in the local community.
It's my hope, sincere hope, that our success will inspire all of us, especially our students.
The Genius New York program is the world's largest business competition for unmanned aircraft systems, and it's right here in Central New York.
This April, the SU duo will pitch their technologies and business plan to a panel of judges in Syracuse to complete for investments totaling $2.5 million.
Good morning, I'm Zach Staten with your Orange Sports Update here on Mornings on the Hill. After falling to the second-ranked Virginia Cavaliers on the weekend, the Syracuse men's basketball team needed a big win to bolster its NCAA tournament resume. They had that chance Monday night on the road against Louisville, and they showed up in a big-time way. Let's head down to the KFC Yum Center. First half, Frank Howard hits a long three right over his defender. He was hitting early and often, 13 first-half points for Howard. There's another three right there. O'Shea Brissett in transition. Nice move around the defender. Passes Pascal Chukwu, slamming it down. The aggression there is what Jim Boeheim's been looking for. Final seconds before the half, Darius Perry, can you say long range? Half-court buzzer beater right before the half. Syracuse up 6. Second half. All right, someone break the emergency glass. Frank Howard's on fire. 22 points for the junior point guard, but Louisville's not out of it yet. Anas Mahmoud. Hook shot, Cards are within 2. Matthias Battle missed the floater. Here's Marek Dolezaj with the tip back. Syracuse plays its best game of the season and pull out the 78-73 road win, a huge victory for its postseason tournament hopes.
This was our best win in a long time. It's coming off a couple really not good offensive, 3 bad offensive performances in a row. I just thought we had great patience.
Syracuse is back in the Dome on Sunday afternoon for a rematch with Wake Forest. The Deacs beat SU earlier this season in Winston-Salem 73-67. Meanwhile, the SU women's basketball team had a contest with Louisville of their own. The Orange looked to rebound after dropping their first home game of the season earlier in the week to Virginia Tech. But that's no easy task. The Cardinals are ranked 4th in the country. Let's go to the Carrier Dome. Digna Stroutmana hits a 3 to open the scoring, back-to-back ACC Rookie of the Week winner. But Louisville's offense is high-powered. Cindy Zambrano, 3. Louisville then gets a 3 from Alicia Durr. They're up by as many as 15, but Tiana Mangakaya not going to let SU die without a fight. Hoop and the harm right there. 20 points and 10 assists for the point guard. Here she is on a step-back 3. Water. But just too much Louisville offense in this game. Alicia Durr finished with 27 points and 5 threes. And Louisville comes out with an 84-77 victory at the Carrier Dome. SU's back in action Sunday night at Wake Forest. The SU lacrosse team starts their season this weekend. The women's lacrosse team begins their season Friday night with a matchup with the Connecticut Huskies. Start time is 5 p.m. Orange are ranked 7th in the U.S. lacrosse poll. The men hit the field Saturday at 1 p.m. to take on Binghamton. They're ranked 10th to start the season. Both games are in the Carrier Dome. That's your sports update. I'm Zach Staten. Stay right with us, though. More coming up on Mornings on the Hill.
Welcome back. It looks like orange is becoming everyone's favorite color. Syracuse University received a record-breaking amount of applications this year.
Our own Gianna Astorito joins us now with the story.
Thanks, Alana and Sarah. As of late January, the number of SU applicants reached a total of more than 34,000. I was on campus and I was actually able to speak with some students about what drew them to the university.
What is it about Syracuse that brings people from all over the world? Is it the 317 clubs and organizations that the campus offers, the 100 abroad options in over 60 countries? Or maybe it's the enclosed campus atmosphere. Whatever it is, prospective students recognized this year when the school reached a record-breaking amount of applications. This senior television, radio, and film major thinks highly of the campus, especially the Newhouse School.
Syracuse is special because mostly the people, but also the level of education you get at Newhouse. Being surrounded by so many people who are motivated and driven, it's a lot easier to continue to work hard and aim high with your career, but also just be surrounded by great people.
Syracuse prides themselves on academics, sportsmanship, and involvement, but this freshman didn't have an exact reason as to why she chose Syracuse.
It was just my #1 pick because I came here in 9th grade for college visit and I don't know, it felt like you were just walking to campus, you're like, oh, this is it. That was that moment.
Students are eager to attend the university. The number of early decision applications increased 2.5%, also a record-setting high. It looks like Otto's Army is about to get a lot bigger. From Mornings on the Hill, I'm Gianna Astorito.
I'm Liliana Pearson, and here's what's going on this weekend here on the Hill. Go downtown Thursday and you can help solve the crime of the Bangalone family in an interactive mystery dinner. It starts at 7 p.m. at the Spaghetti Warehouse, and tickets can be purchased by contacting the venue. Friday is a big day for women's sports on campus. At 4 p.m., swing by Drumlins to see tennis take on the University of Connecticut. At 5 p.m., the women's lacrosse team is also playing the University of Connecticut in the Carrier Dome. And finally, you can finish off your day with a women's ice hockey game at the 7 p.m. game against the Rochester Institute of Technology in the Tennedy Ice Pavilion. Saturday, you don't want to miss the men's lacrosse team go up against Binghamton. That will be at the Carrier Dome at 1 p.m. Saturday night, you can watch a screening of Justice League. That's going to be at 11 p.m. in the Gifford Auditorium. Finally, on Sunday, you can relax and enjoy your morning before the start of the men's basketball game. They're going up against Wake Forest. The game will kick off at 1 p.m. at the Carrier Dome. And that's Weekends on the Hill. I'm Liliana Pearson.
We all remember the lovable children's character, Mr. Rogers, and soon he will be coming to everyone's neighborhood.
The U.S. Postal Service announced that it will be honoring the show host with a new stamp.
The stamp will be issued in March and will feature a photo of the actor Fred Rogers in his iconic red sweater, along with one of his puppets. That's going to do it for us this Wednesday here on Mornings on the Hill. I'm Sarah Bonadies. Follow us on social media.
I'm Alana Selden. Thanks for watching Orange Nation. We'll see you next Wednesday live at 10 a.m. right here on OTN.